This podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. The Fireman Moving Company is the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you are looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. All right, welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast, your number one source for WKU sports news and information. We are the only year-round WKU podcast, and we're the only WKU podcast that covers every sport and every athlete here at WKU. We are also a proud member of the College Huddle podcast community. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms. I always recommend X and Twitter. I'm talking to you, John Bellamy. I know you're listening. What took you so long to follow me on Twitter? Come on, man. You know you want the information. But yeah, definitely follow us on Twitter. That's where you're going to get the most live and current updates with anything related to WKU athletics. And also make sure you head over to our YouTube channel at Topper Talk Podcast over there. Hit the bell, subscribe, get notified anytime we post a new episode. Every episode goes up with an audio version and a video version. So make sure you follow us there. Got Tyler here with me, man. We've got I guess, an exciting episode to wrap up for some National Signing Day signees, man. You about ready to jump into it?
Yeah, man, let's get into it. Should be a good one.
But before we do that, we have to get caught up with our Red Towel wrap up, which catches us up with all the news and information we've missed since we last recorded. So, Tyler, hit us with that Red Towel wrap up.
All right, so starting off with a little bit of sad news. WKU volleyball, they lost 3-0 to Marquette in the opening round of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, always a bummer to lose out in the first round of the tournament. They finished the record with the year with a 27-6 overall record. Man, it's just a tough matchup. It was a tough draw. Marquette is a really good team, really good offensive team. We actually had a really good game. If you look at the 3-0 sweep, it doesn't look like we played very well. We actually played really well in that game. Marquette just played butter. It was just a tough matchup for us. But 7 of the last 11 years we have won a first round game. I think sometimes that gets lost on people. I saw people on Twitter like, oh man, are we ever going to get past the first round game? So I went back and was doing research. Going back to 2015, we have advanced and beaten our first round opponent 7 times out of 11 years, including making the Sweet 16 in 2019 or 20. I forget which year it was. So we've had obviously a long, sustained run of success with volleyball. We graduated 3 seniors this year that all contributed over the last few years. We had a really young team this year, a lot of freshmen and sophomores contributing. And hopefully they're all coming back next year. We're just going to reload, more talent coming in, true freshmen, plus all those freshmen and sophomores are now going to have even more experience. So looking forward to another special year already next season. We're months and months away from next season starting, but it's just going to be special to reload with even more talent and another good team.
Well, we're not completely done talking about the volleyball team because some volleyball players got some was named to the first teams and honorable mentions, and let's get into it. So, volleyball player Callie Bauer named the AVCA All Region First Team. Kara Knox and Olivia Skidmore named the AVCA Honorable Mentions.
Yeah, so senior Callie Bauer, Conference USA Player of the Year, Conference USA Tournament MVP, just an amazing player and leader or setter. Deserves that honor. AVCA All Region First Team. She probably has more postseason awards coming her way. I wouldn't be surprised if she's on an honorable mention All American list somewhere. And then Kara Knox and Olivia Skidmore. Kyra's a true freshman. Olivia is a sophomore, and both of those are our outside hitters. So we're pretty set in that position for the next couple of years. And both of those ladies making the ABCA honorable mention is just a huge honor for them. A lot of talent and definitely well deserved recognition.
Now, moving on to some more, well, I'm not going to say sad or disappointing news. It just happens. The following WKU football players have declared their intent to enter the transfer portal. Starting out, we got Virgil Marshall, Harper Holloman, Nazir Ward, Caleb Nitta, Melvin Collins Jr., Tucker Parks, Dylan Flowers, and Damari Jefferson.
Yeah, so several of those guys are starters or depth pieces. Some good talent on that list right there. But um, one thing or a couple things we've learned over the years is one, just because they're entering the portal doesn't mean they're gone. We've seen plenty of guys that have tested the portal, seen what's out there, seen what kind of interest they get, and then they come back home. They say, "Hey, maybe Western's the place for me. I'll stay here." But some of these guys are going to leave and go to other schools, other situations that they feel is best for them, and that's fine because we oftentimes celebrate a lot of good players that we get out of the transfer portal. And you can't celebrate those players that we get from the portal if you don't have some guys that you lose to the portal occasionally. So I hate to see it happen. Each of those guys, each of those players were contributors while they were here. Each of them has their own reasons for leaving. They know what that is, whether it's a personal situation, a playing situation, you know, hopefully, money isn't a huge factor with us. I don't feel like we're over or underpaying anyone, but it just is what it is. NIL and transfer portals not going away. They're going to test the waters and we'll see what happens. And I'm sure there's going to be more. We're still 3 weeks away from the transfer portal opening. We have a bowl game coming up in a couple weeks we're about to talk about. There's going to be plenty more guys that hit the portal. This is just the first wave of 8 guys. So relax, everyone. It's not the end of the world. We're going to replenish with talent just like we always do every single year. But best of luck to each of those guys as they decide what's best for their future.
Staying here with the football team, WKU was selected to play in the New Orleans Bowl versus Southern Miss on 12/23 at 4:30 p.m.
Yeah, so heading down to a familiar site. We played down in the New Orleans Bowl in 2022, I believe it was. Austin Reed and Dalvin Smith went down there and torched South Alabama. We're playing a familiar foe in Southern Miss, former Conference USA mate. We have a 4-0 all-time record versus them. So no reason we don't take them to the woodshed and put a little BTA to them. It looks like they're going to be playing with an interim head coach as their head coach just took a position at Memphis. Don't know what their opt out and their transfer players is going to look like, but um, I'm pretty confident in this game. I think we're gonna take care of business. But I'm glad that we're in a bowl game. Never gonna take that for granted. So definitely congratulations to the team for getting that bowl bid.
And let's not forget about Southern Miss. I think it was the last conference championship we played them in. A bunch of their players kept going down, faking injuries because we was in the hurry up offense, and some boos escaped the crowd. I'm sure. And Southern Miss called us trash, but screw them. I'm ready to whip them. So moving on, Lady Topper basketball, they fell to Miami of Ohio, 82-53.
That one stings. Not gonna lie. The women's basketball team has had its share of struggles in non-conference play. Not going to gloss over that or glaze over that in any way, shape, or form. It's not been a good non-conference schedule for the Lady Toppers. I did notice that they got a little healthier. Trinity Rowe came back. I don't know if she was in a limited capacity or full wide open capacity. I don't know, but we're getting healthier, so that's a good thing. Hopefully, we can get back on the winning track. We've got just a few games left in non-conference play, and then we'll be in conference play. Um, we need to right this ship. Things aren't looking good to begin the season. Just to keep it completely honest, we need to get healthy. We need to start winning some ball games, and that was a tough one. Tried to watch most of it, but that was a tough one to sit through. Um, Pretty rough defeat against a team in Miami, Ohio that we usually take care of business against them, but wasn't meant to be this year.
WKU men's basketball, they beat Evansville 80-79. Now it's 6-2 on the season.
Yeah, solid win. Evansville came to Diddle Arena. Kind of an up and down game. If you got to go or got to watch it on ESPN Plus, we fell behind by 10 early. I think we were down by as much as 18-8 early in the game, and then we stormed back. We took the lead before halftime. After halftime, we got up by as much as 16 points with about 13 minutes to go. And then it was just like the wheels fell off. Evansville just couldn't miss from three. We weren't guarding the three very well, so they were just wide open and hitting everything. And they came back, and they had a last possession, last shot chance to tie the game. Luckily, they just got a tip in at the buzzer that made it a 1 point game. But a win is a win. It was an ugly win. I'd rather an ugly win than an ugly loss, or even a pretty loss. We held on, we survived. Hopefully, we learned some things as we've got a tough game against Marshall at Marshall coming up. And they're a good 3 point shooting team as well. We let Evansville back in that game. But we'll take the win, 6-2 on the season, still a good start. And hopefully they keep that rolling and keep winning games.
Yeah, and just kind of finish up on that, we went over 2 minutes, or it was less than 3 minutes. We went 2 minutes and some seconds without scoring a field goal there at the end of the game, so that kind of opened the door for him. Moving on to track and field, pole vaulter Sam Crenshaw broke his own school record with a vault of 5.11 meters.
Yeah, so we talked about Sam last year. He was a true freshman. It was breaking school records in the pole vault, setting his own school records as a true freshman. Now a sophomore, and already in the first indoor meet of the season, has broken his own school record with a vault of 5.11 meters, which yeah, I'm not the best at math, but that's over 15 feet pole vaulting on a little pole. I just want you to think about it. You watch a pole vaulter go up and go over a high bar. That's probably one of the toughest events in the track and field world, and he's pretty good at it. True freshman breaking his own school record. We definitely had to talk about that and give him some love for that accomplishment because that's a big one, and I expect he'll probably be challenging that the rest of this year, and obviously his next couple of years as a hilltopper. So big congratulations to Sam.
And that concludes this week's episode of the Red Towel Wrap Up. Moff, I'm gonna hand it off back to you.
Yeah, man, good stuff as always. For the most part, a little bad stuff in there, but for the most part, good news. Like the Red Towel Wrap Up usually is focused on our teams and athletes and how they're performing. Good stuff. But like I said, we are diving into the National Signing Day recap that just happened this last week, this last Tuesday. High school seniors and some JUCO players across the country had a chance to sign their name to a national letter of intent to the college of their choice. And we had a pretty good day. It's the early signing day. There is another signing day in February, and the signing period's not over. Players can still sign, but for the most part, you're going to see most of those roll in, within that first 24 to 36 hours after the signing day begins Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. We had 24 signees that were announced. People, players that signed on the dotted line. We have the number one class in Conference USA, which, I want to say it's kind of rare for us. We're normally near the top of Conference USA. We'll be in the top, 4 to 5, but it's not often that we have been the number one class in Conference USA. And we also have the number 73 class nationally, which again, one of our better classes we've ever had. That's going to be one of our highest national rankings that we've had in quite a while. And one thing I noticed with this signing class is It really seems like the staff has put more emphasis on the high school kids. With the way the portal works and NIL now, it seems like a lot of the top teams in the country are using the portal and college players that already have film and tape to fill their rosters. So there's a lot of kids from the high school ranks and even the JUCO ranks, a lot of good talent that is falling through the cracks and just ending up at a lower level school, not getting recruited. But I really think I like the pivot by our staff to put more of an emphasis on the high school kids. We can get them in here, we can develop them, probably keep them for a couple of years instead of a portal guy that would just be a potentially one and done. So I really like the move, and I think this class has a lot of potential, a lot of good talent, a lot of talent that is going to contribute here over the next, couple 2 to 3 years. I'm not expecting all of them to graduate from Western Kentucky. That's ambitious. Once these guys, if they redshirt or not, whenever they get on the field and contribute and get some film, it's going to be natural. They're going to test the portal and they may go somewhere else. But as long as we get a chance to develop them in our system, they'll know our system, they'll know our coaches, our expectations. And then once they get on the field and they shine, we're going to get the most out of them while they're here. So I really like the pivot. Obviously, we're still going to utilize the portal. We're still going to backfill and make sure we have depth and make sure we have starters and just talent across the board. That's what Tyson Hilton is known for, is his ability to attack the portal and find talent. So, that is not going to change at all. But it's just a little different emphasis, and I like it. I'm not going to lie. So we're going to run down each of these signees and just tell you who they are, where they came from, and read you a little short bio about their time at their previous school, whether it was high school or JUCO. And the first signee, and these are in alphabetical order, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to say no certain order except for alphabetical. So the first signee is Weston Ard. Coming in, a true freshman. Obviously, he's a linebacker. He's 6'1", 217 pounds. He comes here from Houston County High School, which is in Warner Robins, Georgia. Always enjoy that Georgia pipeline. We've had some good talent come from Georgia. He prepped at Houston County High School in Georgia, where he was considered a 3-star prospect by 247 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. He is considered the number 61 player at his position by ESPN. He was a 2A player at Houston County, but joins the Hilltoppers as a linebacker. Offensively, as a senior in 2025, he had 29 carries for 82 yards and 10 touchdowns. And defensively, he had 122 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 15 quarterback hurries, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery. And all this is according to his team's Max Preps account. Then, as a junior, he rushed for 2 touchdowns on 2 carries and posted 123 tackles, 24 for loss, 9 sacks, 12 quarterback hurries, and a forced fumble. So, man, I'm seeing a kid that fills up the stat sheet, just tackles everywhere, sideline to sideline, pressure on the quarterback. I like what I see on paper. It looks like a really good addition, and I think linebacker has been one of our weaker spots, weaker positions the last few years. So I like to see that we've got a high level, high 3-star prospect that's in the fold that I think is going to be impactful. Tyler, what do you think about Weston and how he's going to fit in with this defense as a linebacker?
Well, I mean, if he's doing all that as a high school kid, you got to think about what he's going to do as a college kid. Maybe once if he does redshirt his freshman year, puts on a little bit of weight, learns, sits back and learns the system. What college linebackers got to know. I think he's going to be dangerous. And right now, if you look at them numbers, the kid is consistent too. He's been consistent the last 2 years. And like you said, he's a real stat stuffer. So, I like someone that's going to hit hard, force a couple fumbles, get back in the backfield, and just continue to rack up them numbers. So I'm glad we got him. The next guy is going to be a Brazier. Also comes in as a true freshman, also linebacker, 6'1", 207 pounds from Grayson High School in Loganville, Georgia. Brazier is a three-star linebacker prospect out of Grayson High School in Georgia, according to 24/7 Sports, ESPN, and Rivals. According to his team's Max Preps account, Brazier tallied 37 total tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and a pair of sacks, 10 quarterback hurries, 2 fumble recoveries, and 2 passes defended in 12 games as a senior in 2025 for the Rams. It's good to have another linebacker. This one, his numbers he ain't got as many stats as, of course, Weston, but hey, I mean, there's just room for him to improve.
Yeah, I think as both of those guys, and both of those guys are early enrollees. I meant to tell you, Tyler, when you see beside their name they have an asterisk, that means they're an early enrollee, and they're going to be on campus here within the next few weeks. By the time the spring semester rolls around, they'll be on campus. They'll be in our weight room, in our nutrition system, getting their body ready for their true freshman season coming up. So that's always kind of a leg up. They're getting out of their high school system, graduating early, and getting here to Western. So we've got a lot of guys that are getting here early. But this is another early enrollee that, again, I don't know. I don't suspect that he'll be an immediate impact, like come here, day one starter, and just going to be, lights out from day one. But I do expect that he's going to get here, get in our weight room system, our nutrition system, get his body ready, go through his first spring and fall, and kind of see what being a next level Division I athlete is all about. Learn from some guys that are ahead of him, a little older than him, guys that we get from the portal, etc. And then by the time his redshirt freshman comes around, hopefully next year, these freshman guys, I don't like to force them into action before they're ready. And a lot of time, especially on the defensive side of the ball, you want to see these guys muscle up, get their body right and ready. But I think, this is going to be another good pickup, a Georgia boy. Again, we've had a lot of good success from those Georgia guys. He's got good size on him, 6'1", 207. That's real good size, and I'm ready to see him again be an impactful player in the future for this program. The next prospect, again, is an early enrollee. His name is Jeremiah Carroll. He is a wide receiver. He's 5'11", 172 pounds. He comes to us from Carson Newman Junior College. He has spent 3 seasons at the Division II level, where he appeared in 33 games with 53 receptions, 903 yards, and 6 touchdowns. This past season in 2025, he had 15 receptions for 255 yards and a pair of touchdowns in 10 games played, and finished as the team's leading receiver. He also was the leading receiver for the Eagles as a sophomore in 2024, catching 23 passes for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns with a long of 73 yards. He also rushed the ball 7 times for 148 yards and a 64-yard touchdown. He finished as Carson Newman's second leading receiver in 2023 as a freshman with 15 catches for 284 yards. He appeared in all 11 games as a true freshman with 4 starts. And before that, he prepped at Mays High School in Georgia, where he was a 2-sport star. He was all-region selection during his prep career, and also finished 4th in the state in the 110-meter hurdles for the track team. So, man, I am hearing a guy that came to it doesn't matter, Division III college, Division II college, whatever it was, and just started contributing immediately. And he was a track star. He was a 110-meter hurdles, so he's fast, he's explosive. Man, I can't wait to see him in our system. Quite frankly, I'm just going to put it out there. This sounds like a playmaker to me. This sounds like a Katie Hutchinson type of a player. Really looking forward to him. Tyler, what do you think about Jeremiah and how he's going to fit with this offense?
I think he's just like Katie Hutchins. I think he's going to be a danger in the slot. It seems like he's got some speed on him. Whenever he rushed the ball what, 7 times for 148 yards and a 64-yard touchdown. That you're right. He's got some explosive speed. He's got some, I'm expecting him to be a playmaker. He comes in with already some college experience. He's hungry for more. So I say let's feed the beast. I'm looking forward to him getting on campus. This next one is Orlando Crofton Jr. He is a freshman. He's an athlete. He's 6'3", 232 pounds from Carver High School from Atlanta, Georgia. Crofton signs with WKU as a 3-star athlete out of Carver High School. According to 24/7 Sports, he played tight end and defensive end for the Panthers, catching 7 passes for 59 yards and totaling 44 tackles. 17 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 12 quarterback hurries, and 1 interception in 13 games as a senior in 2025. According to his team's Max Preps account, as a junior, he had 9 receptions for 118 yards and touchdown on offense, and on defense, he posted 36 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, and 6 sacks. He was named Region 5 2A first team. So the boy comes in with some size, he can be a tight end, but those defensive numbers. Western has a tradition of putting up, good defensive ends, having good, steady defensive end play. So, it probably wouldn't hurt me if he did learn the system, and they maybe do sneak him in there as defensive end. Stephen, what do you think?
Well, I'm noticing a trend of some Georgia boys. It seems like every single person we've talked about so far has been a Georgia boy, and that's maybe by coincidence, maybe by design. I mean, it's alphabetical, but man, it seems like there's a focus on getting some Georgia kids. Obviously, we like to recruit Florida heavily, Alabama heavily, Kentucky, Tennessee. That's kind of our main recruiting footprint. But man, I really like this kid, and just one, his size, 6'3", 232 pounds, from a good, well-known high school at Carver High School in Atlanta, Georgia. That is a school in an area that produces a lot of next level talent, whether it be Division 1, whether it be professionals that go to the NFL. And with that size, and he's coming in as an athlete, so we're going to get to just figure out where he fits in best, whether that's as a defensive end, a linebacker, in the secondary, a big tight end, a a mismatch wide receiver, push him out to the edge. This is a guy that is just versatile. I don't think we'll play him both ways. We're not going to give him the Travis Hunter treatment and make him have 100 snaps a game. But man, just the versatility of bringing in a kid like this that can do it all. And uh, man, I just think the sky's the limit for this one. This could be a kid that comes in and starts contributing from day one. Maybe not as a starter, but as a depth piece that you see when we rotate guys in, defenses get tired, etc. This is one of those kids that I wouldn't be surprised. Marvis Parrish was kind of a surprise this last year, day one starter. Wouldn't be surprised if this one is seeing the field some, as a true freshman. He's not an early enrollee, so he'll be here, by the time spring ball is getting into action. But man, I'm still excited for this kid and what he can bring to this team because, um, man, just his size and athleticism. I'm ready. It jumps off the page at you. The next prospect we're going to talk about is Jordan Curl. He's an offensive lineman. He is 6'4", 267 pounds. He comes to us from Page High School in Franklin, Tennessee. He joins the Hilltoppers after prepping at Page High School in Tennessee, where 247 Sports and Rivals rates him as a 3-star prospect along the offensive line. He's rated as the number 56 overall player in the state of Tennessee by Rivals, while 247 Sports rates him as the number 62 player. He was named first team all region along the offensive line and defensive line during his high school career. So, again, another player that's playing both ways, both sides of the line, offensive line and defensive line. Looks like he's probably coming here as an offensive lineman. I really like his size coming out of high school, 6'4", big boy, 267. Probably gonna need to bulk him up Get him in our weight room. Our nutrition system will bulk him up, get him closer to 300, kind of normally where you want your offensive line guys. But I like the looks of this kid, Tyler. What do you think about Jordan?
Yeah, that size really jumped off the page at you. He shouldn't be a. I know we could be possibly losing some offensive line men in the portal. Hopefully, we're going to reload that, and hopefully he won't have to be a day one starter. Just because, yeah, you would like to see him get a little bit heftier. But hey, I'm not mad at him. He's 56 overall in state of Tennessee, by one, by rivals, and then like you said, 62 in the state of Tennessee from 247 Sports. So obviously he is doing pretty good, and I'm just glad we got him. Looking at the next one, we got CJ Emery. He's a freshman defensive tackle, 6'1", 273 from Pahokee High School. He's coming to WKU after prepping at Pahokee High School in Florida, where he's considered a three-star prospect by ESPN, Rivals, and 247 Sports. He comes to WKU as a defensive lineman, but he had been a two-way player during his prep career. As a senior, he had 42 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, and 3 quarterback hurries in 9 games. According to his team's Max Prep account, he also had a fumble recovery as a junior in 2024. He recorded 65 total tackles, 13 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks in 11 games played for the Blue Devils. So, we got another non-Georgia boy, but hey, we're getting them Florida kids in here. Florida, typically is a good, uh, I don't want to say breeding ground, but good fertile ground for football players. The guy has some numbers. Coming in as a three. I think I skipped this, but he was considered a 3-star prospect by ESPN, Rivals, and 247 Sports. So, another pattern of getting a 3-star player in here. That's one thing you're going to notice as we run down these numbers or these players, is we have a lot of 3-star prospects coming in. And I feel like if you can get a 3-star prospect play like a 4 or 5-star prospect, that's even better. But I'm glad we got this kid in here. 6'1", 273, good size, could be a little bit better. But I'm glad we got it.
Yeah, I expect that he's another one of these I don't want to call him a kid. He's another prospect that we're going to get in here, and we're gonna strengthen him up. He's a defensive tackle. He's a guy that needs to get stronger. Going to be playing against guys older than him, stronger than him. Sure, he's a weight room guy already, but we got to put a little pounds on him, put a little bit more muscle on him. You can already see just looking at his high school stats. He likes to live in the backfield. A lot of tackles for loss, a lot of sacks. That's not typical for a defensive tackle. Usually those guys are, filling gaps, filling holes, and linebackers are making those tackles. So to see a defensive tackle with that many stats really tells me a lot about his drive, his strength, and just really about his upside. Yeah, like you said, the fact that it's another 3-star prospect. Almost every single one of these guys that we're talking about in signing, you're going to hear that just repeated. We've got so many 3-star prospects. That's why we have the number 1 class in Conference USA, is because we've elevated the level of talent that we're going after and that we're bringing here to Western Kentucky. So again, another one that I'm excited to see here on the hill. Again, I don't think he'll be a day 1 starter, but man, I can't wait to see him contributing in the future. The next prospect we're going to talk about is another early enrollee. His name is Teron Essex. He is a defensive back, 6'3", 188 pounds, from Southwest DeKalb High School in Decatur, Georgia. He is prepped at Southwest DeKalb High School in Georgia, where he was rated a 3-star prospect by 247 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. He also was a standout basketball player, was a first-team All-Region player on Southwest DeKalb on the football field, and he was a 2-way player at Southwest DeKalb, but he comes to WKU as a safety. So, I mean, one, Georgia kid, two, 6'3". I mean, look at go across Conference USA and look at their secondaries, their defensive backs, their safeties, and tell me how many of those guys are taller than 6'1". Not very many of them. Usually, these guys that are taller, 6'2", 6'3", they usually end up at a P4. They usually end up in the SEC or somewhere like that. The fact that he's a multi-sport athlete, plays basketball as well, and was an all-region player in football, and was a standout basketball player. He's athletic. Probably has a heck of a vertical leap. He's already has a size advantage. He's 6'3". He is going to be a problem in the secondary, and man, that could be a kid that again I think we'll have a good secondary because we typically do, but he could be a kid that finds himself in the rotation and seeing the field early as long as he knows the schemes and knows the plays. And he's getting here early. He's going to be an early enrollee. He'll be here by January, so he's going to have a leg up for spring and fall ball. So, man, just another one that I'm excited about. Tyler, what do you think about this kid?
I like this kid. I wish we had him in the backfield some this season. We played, what was it, Jack State? I think they had a player that was like 6'7" or something, 6'6", wide receiver. Would have been definitely useful to try to shut him down a little bit more. Maybe get a couple picks off of them. But you're right. I mean, the kid is athletic as all get out. Should be, and the fact that he's getting here early is only going to benefit him and us, I think, in the long run. So, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm super excited we got this kid. This is going to be one that we need to keep an eye on and see how he progresses through spring ball and spring camp and all that. But super excited for him to get here. Next, we have another early enrollee, Bryce Fulda. He's a freshman, defensive end, 6'4", 232. Played at Cardinal Mooney High School down there, Bradenton, Florida. He comes to us as a 3-star prospect, according to 24/7 Sports Rivals and ESPN. According to his team's Max Prep account, the edge defender recorded 55 total tackles, 29 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, and 22 quarterback hurries over 10 games as a senior in 2025. As a junior, he tallied 55 total tackles with 28 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, 16 quarterback hurries, and a forced fumble. During his sophomore season, Fulda posted 43 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, an interception, and a fumble recovery. Dude is disruptive. As you can tell, his senior year, he had 55 total tackles, but 29 tackles for loss. That means over half of his tackles was in the backfield. Gotta love that. Gotta love the quickness that obviously he has to have to get back around the edge, get back there and get the quarterback or get the wide receiver or running back. So super excited for this kid. I mean, if he can keep stacking the stats here at Western, I think we're gonna have a bright future in front of us. Smile, what do you think about it?
Yeah, one, you have to love the size. 6'4", 232, Florida boy. Gotta love that, man. Like you said, that's a fertile recruiting ground for us. That's where most of your Division One, the 4 and 5 star prospects come from. Florida, Texas, California. He's right there in the heart of that. And then, like you said, looking at his stats, 55 tackles, 29 for loss, 12 sacks, and 22 quarterback hurries. I mean, he is getting to the quarterback 3 to 5 times a game. That is insane. That's impressive for a defensive end. That can be a game changer for you. I know it felt like at times this year we would get in the backfield, we'd move a quarterback, but we just didn't get home and get the quarterback to the ground. This is a guy that if he gets back there, he's going to wrap him up and he's going to put him on the turf. So I'm real excited for Bryce. Um, Again, he's coming in. He's early enrollee. I don't know that he'll be a day one starter or day one player. Hopefully, he has a chance to just get in the weight room, get his body right, learn the system, the scheme, the coaches, teammates, etc. And competition is going to just sharpen his iron, as they say, and he's going to be ready to go. Hopefully as a redshirt freshman, but hey, if he forced in there as a true freshman, let him go. He obviously has the motor to absolutely go and be disruptive. So I mean, maybe we need to let the dog off the leash and let him eat. I don't know. Looking at the next prospect, another early enrollee. His name is Devin Hamilton. He is a wide receiver, 6'4", 202 pounds, coming here from Mill Creek High School in Dacula, Georgia. He had a standout prep career at Mill Creek High School in Georgia, where he was considered a 3-star prospect by 247 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. According to their Max Preps account, he had 26 catches for 336 yards and 4 touchdowns in only 7 games played in 2025. The year prior, he had 215 yards and 4 touchdowns on 18 receptions. He was named an All Region 8, was that 6A second team offense as a senior. So don't know why he didn't play a full slate of games, just 7 games in 2025, but still named second team offense. One, I love and respect that. Two, 6'4" wide receiver. I mean, again, we talked about the staff putting more of an emphasis on these high school kids because there's more of this elite level, high level talent that is falling through the cracks because so many of the P4s, the P2s, SEC, etc. So many of those schools are targeting portal guys that they're missing out on high level talent that's falling through the cracks. And I'm sorry, not many 6'4" wide receivers across Conference USA. You just talked about one we had to face, 6'8" over at Jacksonville State. Those guys don't grow on trees. 6'4" Georgia boy coming here. I would advise everyone to get to know his name, Devin Hamilton, because I guarantee he is going to be touching the black end zones on both ends of Houchin Smith Stadium. Again, maybe not in 2026. Not going to guarantee it straight out the gate. But I also feel like he's going to be hard to keep off the field, man. I mean, once he gets here, learns the playbook, Rodney Tisdale or whoever's throwing him the ball, all he has to do is go up and catch it, get some separation, and go make a play. And you can tell that's what he's already doing in limited action with his high school. So, man, I'm really excited for him. Now, the next prospect to talk about is Aisha Hobart. He is an offensive lineman. He is 6'7", 295 pounds, coming to us from Cherokee County High School in Center, Alabama. He is considered a 3-star offensive line prospect out of Cherokee County High School by 247 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. Rivals ranks Hobart as a offensive tackle as the number 63 prospect from the state of Alabama. He was named to the 2025 North roster for the AHSAA North-South football game. The size jumps off the page at you. I know you're going to talk about that, Tyler. What else do you like about Asian and what he's going to bring to this offense?
Well, yeah, 6'7", 295 pounds. Good gosh, he's got his own area code. I think, whenever he comes in, he may not be a day one. Probably not, but he definitely could see him come in as kind of like a fill-in guy for when the offensive line gets a little bit tired. I think whenever he, learns learns a college game, because it's probably going to be fast for him. You give it time for it to slow down for him. I think this kid's going to be great. It's good that we're getting a 63 prospect from the state of Alabama. And having him named to the 2025 North roster for the AHSAA North-South football game is great. But yeah, this kid could because Western has a good offensive line typically. I know the last few years though it's kind of been up and down. We ain't been getting a lot of push on them, so hopefully this kid comes in and maybe second year it ends up being a starter. But I'm hoping the best for him. Next guy is Trayvon McGorry. He's a freshman wide receiver, 500 or 5'11", 167 pounds from Germantown High School in Memphis, Tennessee. He comes to the Hilltoppers while being rated as a 3-star prospect at wide receiver by 24/7 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. He prepped at Germantown High School in Tennessee, where he was the featured receiver for his school. So, um, could be another slot one, kind of like KD. 167 pounds, so it seems like he's got to be pretty quick. I don't have no stats on his receptions, but he may not be, the featured edition here at Western, or the featured wide receiver here at Western his first year, second year, but he comes in, he pays his dues. I think this guy could pay dividends in the future. What do you think, Moff?
Yeah, coming from a big city like that, Memphis boy, that's again a heavily populated area, and he's a 5'11", 167 pound feature wide receiver. So that tells me that one, this boy is a burner. He's quick. He's gonna be a slot guy. He's gonna be, like you said, Katie Hutchinson. He's gonna be Nick Norris. He's not gonna be beating you on the outside. We're gonna be using him for end arounds and just over the middle plays, trying to get him matched up with linebackers and just be a mismatch and just a problem across the field. So I'm excited for him. I wish we had some stats on him for his last couple of years of high school, but for whatever reason, his bio didn't have them. But again, I like the sound of the kid. You come from Memphis, you're not just a small town kid that was a feature wide receiver. You're a Memphis kid where it's tough sledding, a lot of competition there in all sports, not just football, but basketball, baseball, everything. So excited for him. Another 3-star prospect that once he gets a chance and gets on the field, he's going to be a good one. The next prospect to talk about is another early enrollee. It's Leonze Merzius. He is a defensive back. He's 5'9", 171 pounds. He comes here from Chaminade Madonna High School in Pompano Beach, Florida, where he was rated a 3-star prospect by 247 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. He recorded 19 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, which he returned for 23 yards, 8 passes defended, and a forced fumble as a senior in 2025 over 10 games. As a junior the year before, he posted 36 tackles, a pair of tackles for loss, 1 interception, which he returned for 55 yards, 17 passes defended, and 2 fumble recoveries that were returned 77 yards. He also recorded 2 touchdowns in 2024. So I remember talking about New Mexico State and saying they didn't have ball hawks. Guess what? I think we just signed one, man. I like the sound of this kid. He has a nose for the ball, and when it's in the air, it sounds like he thinks that ball's just as much his as it is the wide receiver. So, Tyler, tell me about this ball hawk. What do you like about him?
Well, he's a typical, I feel like defensive back for Conference USA. 5'9", 171. Hey, with the ball hawk, he's also one of those that like to go down there and hit the players behind the line. He has a couple of forced fumbles. Also not scared to return the ball. So I like that from him. But he recorded 2 touchdowns in 2024. He got 2 fumble recoveries, which he returned for 77 yards. I think this kid's going to fit in great. Early enrollee, so at least he's able to come in, put some weight on him via the weight room, via the nutritional track that they're going to have him on. The dude, sits down probably. I don't know how much he'll play his first season. But hey, whenever he does get in there, I'm expecting big things from him. Our next one, first Kentucky kid that we're going to come up with. Hang on real quick. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Cam O'Hara, freshman, quarterback, 6'2", 199 pounds from Cooper High School up in Florence, Kentucky. O'Hara signs with WKU after a standout in-state high school career at Cooper High School. The quarterback finished his career with 11,227 passing yards, 146 passing touchdowns, and 713 completions, while leading his team to back-to-back KSHAA Class 5A state championship game appearances in 23 and in 24. He ranks third in KHSAA history in passing touchdowns, sixth in passing yards, and ninth in completions. As a senior in 2025, O'Hara threw for 2,231 yards and 26 touchdowns to just good gosh, to just 5 interceptions over the course of 12 games. He completed 134 of 229 passing, added 3 rushing touchdowns as he led the Jaguars to an 8-4 record. As a junior in 2024, O'Hara threw for 3,617 yards and 52 touchdowns on 212 of 325-yard passing, with just 3 interceptions thrown, while also rushing for 186 yards and 4 scores. As a sophomore, he threw for 47 touchdown passes while going 239 of 367 for 3,361 yards. Also, tell me if you heard this before. O'Hara is rated as a 3-star prospect by 24/7 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. Good gosh. Well, what can we say? The boy's a gunslinger. boy likes to throw it. Just the fact that, where are we at here? As a senior in 2025, I'm just going to go over this again because this is impressive. O'Hara threw for 2,231 yards, 26 touchdowns, to just 5 interceptions. And with that, he threw 229 yards or 229 times. Just 5 interceptions out of that 229. That's awesome. That's awesome. I feel like Hilton and the staff always like to have a high-powered quarterback. I like what we're getting here with Cam O'Hara. Moff, what's your opinion on O'Hara?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. This is probably the prospect that I was most excited for from this entire class. One, he was the very first verbal commit of all the guys that we had. Two, he's an in-state kid. Three, just look at his size. Prototypical size, 6'2", right around 200 pounds. Obviously could still be growing, could end up 6'3". We're gonna put a little strength on him, a little muscle on him. We're gonna get him above 200 pounds. You talked about his senior stats where he threw for 2,200 yards, 26 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. Look at his junior year stats: 3,600 yards, 52 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Man, I'm telling you, this kid has quarterback of the future written all over him. And obviously, we have a redshirt sophomore coming back in Rodney Tisdale. So we're going to have time to leave this kid on the bench, let him learn from a quarterback ahead of him, let him learn the scheme, the plays. Obviously, Lord willing, if there's an injury, he may get an opportunity. But we're going to be able to redshirt him, tuck him away for a couple years, and then when he's ready, just unleash him on Conference USA. Because this kid, being a Kentucky kid, I feel a whole lot better about him sticking around and being the first verbal commitment to the class. He's out there recruiting other guys like, hey, come join the Tops. He's retweeting all the game scores, just everything that we're doing. You can tell he's all in. He is a hilltopper, and I cannot wait to see him on campus. I can't wait to see him at the spring game and just what his arm looks like just live. It's easy to read his stats and be like, all right, this kid can chuck it. But I remember seeing Rodney Tisdale a couple years ago and just how excited our staff was for him from basically the day he got on campus. I had heard that, man, this kid Tisdale, watch out for him. When he gets on the field, he's going to be a good one. And what do we see this year? He got on the field and he's a pretty dang good one. He's got a live arm, a strong arm. He's accurate. Got a little cannon on him. So obviously we're excited for the future with Rodney. Hopefully he's here for 2 and 3 more years, but you never know. He could enter the portal this off season. You never know. That being said, really excited for Cam O'Hara. I think he is going to pay his dues. He's going to put the work in. And whenever his time is ready, he's going to be ready to step up and be that next great WKU quarterback. Calling it right now. I'm going to clip this whenever it happens and he's out there challenging Bailey Zappi's record. I'm going to be like, remember that time when we recap National Signing Day in 2025? And Moff called this because I think he's going to be a good one for us. The next prospect we're going to talk about is another early enrollee. His name is Elijah Peak. He is a defensive tackle, 6'1", 294 pounds. He comes to us from Carver High School in Wetumpka, Alabama. He is a 3-star defensive line prospect, according to 247 Sports and Rivals. He prepped at Carver High School in Montgomery, Alabama. During his senior season and prior to that, he was at Wetumpka High School in Alabama, where he had 101 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, 19 quarterback hurries, and a fumble recovery as a junior in 2024. Peak was named All-Region for 6A Region 2. 1, size. 2, Alabama boy. 3, 101 tackles, 18 for loss, 9 sacks, 19 quarterback hurries. I mean, do I have to tell you what I like about this kid? Disruptive, everywhere, making plays. Tyler, what do you like about Elijah?
The same dang thing. I really eyed that 101 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, 19 quarterback hurries, and the fumble recovery. But you know, the guy gets all over the place. The guy's active. I mean, 101 tackles. Good gosh, that alone ain't nothing to sneeze at. But you add in the other stuff, and really looking forward to him getting up there. And of course, he is an early enrollee, so he's going to be here this spring. So that's a player to look forward to. Don't know if he'll start his first year, but could come in, see some playing time. Really excited to see him build his talent here at Western. Next player is Jalen Pollard, freshman, defensive back, 5'11", 200 pounds. Comes to us from Ravenwood High School in Brentwood, Tennessee. Pollard is you guessed it, 3-star prospect out of Ravenwood High School in Tennessee, according to 24/7 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. He is considered the number 43 prospect in the state of Tennessee, according to ESPN. As a junior in 24, Pollard posted 100 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss and interception, 1 forced fumble, and 4 fumble recoveries. Also posted 2 touchdowns that season. So, yeah, he's pretty active too. Posted 100 tackles, had 5.5 tackles back there in the backfield, interception, forced fumble. And he's right around that 5'11", 5'9", 5'11 size. So he is kind of that typical defensive back size. But I feel like he could be hungry. He could be very disruptive in the backfield or in the against other teams' wide receivers. What do you think?
Let me tell you something else about Jalen Pollard that you don't know that I do know, because as I was talking to staff and just researching these guys, does the name Bernard Pollard sound familiar to you? Former NFL linebacker, former Super Bowl champion, just an all-pro hard hitter for the Ravens, for the Patriots. This is his son. So we have the son of an NFL player, one of the hardest known hitters in the league, is joining our roster. So you can already guarantee what kind of coaching and what kind of nutrition and what kind of weight room regimen that this kid's already going through. I mean, he's 5'11". He's my height. I'm 5'10"ish, 11ish, 200 pounds. I'm like a buck 60, 70, soaking wet in my best physical condition of my life. Add another 30, 40 pounds of muscle on top of that. And that true freshman is coming here to Western Kentucky. Again, the son of an all-time great NFL player. And then you look at his stats: 100 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, interceptions. He's going to be a good one. He's got all the makings to be a really good and really special player here. Again, I can't project if it's going to be from day one, but he has all the physical tools to be an impact player here at some point, whether that's in 2026 or in the years ahead of him. But I'm excited to get him here. obviously that means we're going to have an NFL player just hanging out at practice, hanging out at games. Just really excited for that and what he's going to bring to this defense. The next prospect that we're going to talk about is Damian Pearson. He is a defensive back. He's 5'9", 153 pounds. He's from Brookwood High School in Grayson, Georgia. He's a 3-star defensive back prospect, according to 247 Sports Rivals and ESPN. As a senior, he posted 70 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 12 passes defended, a fumble recovery in 12 games played, according to his team's Max Prep account. He posted 59 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, an interception, and 7 passes defended, with 2 forced fumbles in 10 games in 2024 as a junior. And then as a sophomore, he had 43 tackles in 2023, as well as 5 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. So, man, you got a kid, again, a Georgia boy. I like that. A little on the smaller side. We've had a couple bigger defensive backs, a little on the smaller side, but I guarantee he's a quick one. He's going to be a guy that's going to cover that speed guy, slot guy. Maybe he's in the nickel or the dime packages. He's probably not going to be on the outside covering your X receiver. I think you can kind of assume that, but he's got a nose for the ball. He is a ball hawk. If he gets his hands on you, he's trying to punch the ball out. He's got forced fumbles everywhere, every single year. Looks like he pretty much stepped on the scene as a sophomore and immediately was making an impact. Tells me about his hunger, about what he wants to bring to the team, and just going to be an impactful player. So really, really excited for him. Tyler, what do you think about Damian Pearson and what he brings to the team?
Well, I like how every year he adds on his total tackles. As a sophomore, 43 tackles; as a junior, 59 tackles; as a senior, 70 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 12 passes, fumbles, defended, and a fumble recovery. Um, you're right. He is hungry. He is wanting to be disruptive. He is wanting to get the team turn the ball over, and I'm here for it. You're right. He is a little undersized in 153 pounds. Um, but you're right. I think his speed will make up for that. And I mean, if he can generate power and hit hard, that's even better. Um, our next player, Tyrell Scott, freshman, offensive line, 6'2", 292 pounds, Elder High School from Cincinnati, Ohio. Scott is rated a 3-star prospect along the offensive line by 24/7 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. He helped Elder to a Greater Catholic League championship, was named the GCL Offensive Lineman of the Year, was first team All GCL, and was first team All Southwest Ohio during his senior season, or All SW Ohio during his senior season. So, I mean, the guy's got recognition during his high school career. I mean, he's came got the he's a champion. Won the Greater Catholic League championship. Was named the offensive lineman of the year for them. So I think I think he came to the right place here at Western. 6'2", 292 pounds. He's close to that 300-pound mark. But I think he's going to add to. Moff, what do you think?
Yeah, the first thing that jumps out at me is good size already. 6'2", 292. Obviously, they're going to bulk him up a little, put more muscle on him. That's pretty typical for any true freshman coming in. 2, he's playing in a heavily, densely populated place like Cincinnati, Ohio. A lot of competition, a lot of good talent coming from there. And he was named the Offensive Lineman of the Year, and he was a first team All Southwest Ohio during his senior season. Granted, we don't have, there's not going to be many stats for an offensive lineman. Usually you're just protecting your quarterback, trying to open up holes for your running backs. So you're not going to see a lot of stats for him, but the fact that he was recognized as the Offensive Lineman of the Year, has great size already. That tells me I'm excited for what this kid is going to bring to the team. He's going to be in the rotation for the offensive line sooner than later, and he's going to add to and make us better. So I'm really excited for Tyrell Scott to get here. The next prospect we're going to talk about is another early enrollee. His name is Henry Smith. He is a defensive end, 6'3", 243 pounds. He comes to us from Moody High School in Moody, Alabama. He is a 3-star edge prospect. According to 247 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. As a senior, he compiled 100 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, 33 quarterback hurries in 14 games played, while also recording a fumble recovery. According to his team's Max Prep account, in 2024, he recorded 109 tackles, 20 tackles for loss, and 10 sacks, according to 247 Sports. Okay, one, if you don't know anything about Moody High School in Moody, Alabama, this is one of the better programs in all of Alabama. They just won a state championship. We've got a couple players coming to the Hill from Moody, Alabama. We're announcing one of them today. That's Henry Smith. And just looking over his stats, 100 tackles, 24 for loss, 12 sacks, 33 hurries as a senior. 109 tackles as a junior, 20 for loss, 10 sacks as a junior. It sounds like we've got a pair of defensive ends between Henry and the one that we talked about earlier that is just going to be living in backfields and be disrupting Conference USA quarterbacks and offenses. And I am here for it, man. This kid has good size. He has good speed. He's going to get to the ball and he's going to hit somebody. Tyler, what do you think about Henry Smith?
Dude, you're right. His size, impeccable. And that's one thing you can't teach his size, and the guy's got it. You add that with his hunger to hit somebody, that's crazy. His senior year just alone, 100 total tackles, almost a quarter of them being tackles for loss. And you look at his junior year, 109 tackles, 20 tackles for loss. 10 sacks and 12 sacks. Jesus, you're right. We have a pair of defensive end here that they might as well just set up a residency in the backfield because obviously their speed is good enough to get back there and to hit somebody and just blow up plays and disrupt plays. So really looking forward to him getting here, and he is going to be here as an early enrollee this spring, so it's only going to benefit him and us. Our next one we're going to talk about, another early enrollee, Jameer Smith. He's a redshirt sophomore offensive lineman, 6'3", 290 pounds, comes to the Hill from Georgia Military College out of Riverdale, Georgia. Smith comes to WKU after spending 2 seasons at the Georgia Military College, where he redshirted his first season and appeared 9 games for the Bulldogs this fall. He helped GMC to a 10-1 record and nearly 450 yards of offense per game. Smith prepped at North Springs High School, where he was listed as an offensive and defensive lineman. He posted a pair of tackles for loss and a fumble recovery as a senior, according to his team's Max Prep account. So, another Georgia boy. We've had a lot of luck with him. This one has a little bit of college experience, so I really like that. Comes to us from military college, really like that. Shows that he's disciplined. Shows that he's going to be a hard worker. And he wasn't a one-man job holding the offensive line, but the fact that he was able to help his team to nearly 450 yards of offense per game just really speaks to me. Good size, 6'3", 290. I think he's definitely going to be a benefit to the tops. Moff, what do you think?
Yeah, 1, Georgia boy. 2, good size on him. 3, starting to notice a pattern that it looks like we're just loading up on some offensive linemen. It sounds like some defensive backs, some defensive ends, and offensive linemen, which, again, rake across our roster and our results from this last year. I think you can find some weaknesses on there. You hate to look in the mirror and self-criticize sometimes, but just reflecting on where our roster has been and where we need to improve upon, I think this staff is attacking, the high school ranks and, the JUCO portal exactly how they need to. And they're finding guys that are going to come in and be impactful, guys they can develop. And this is another one with good size, comes from a winning program, and is just going to come here. And this guy could be a day one starter. Already has a couple years of college play and conditioning and weight room under his belt. Don't know if he will be. Obviously, there's still a lot of moving pieces to figure out for offensive linemen, who's going to stay, who's going to go, etc. But his name will definitely be in the hat as someone that could be a day one contributor on the offensive lineman. The next prospect that we're going to talk about is PJ Souffrant. He is a defensive back. He's 5'10", 171 pounds. He comes to the Hill from Palm Beach Central High School in West Palm Beach, Florida. According to his team's Max Prep account, he recorded 14 tackles in 10 games during the 2025 season and 19 the season prior from his cornerback position. And if this kid's name sounds familiar, PJ Safront, it may be because on the 4th of July, he did his commitment video live on Topper Talk. Yeah, he was the first ever prospect that reached out to us and said, "Hey, I want to do my announcement. I want to do a live recording. Can we do that on 4th of July?" And I was happy to help PJ um, bring that to reality. That's a dream come true to get to commit to a Division One school. Obviously, I love that he's a Florida boy. Tells me all I need to know about the level of talent that he's going to bring. I know he's going to be a burner. The stats don't blow you away, but sometimes when you're a shutdown corner, people don't throw your way. I mean, let's just be honest. And if he's that guy and they're not throwing to his side, he's not getting a lot of opportunities to make plays. Like maybe there was injuries, maybe there's other things at play. But I'm excited for PJ one because we got to help him announce his commitment to Western Kentucky way back in July, and now he got to follow through and sign on the dotted line. He's going to be an early enrollee. He'll be here, before January, and getting on the hill, getting in the system, getting bigger, getting stronger, getting used to our scheme and coaches and teammates. And I'm really looking forward to PJ being on the hill. Tyler, what do you think about PJ?
Yeah, I like his size, 5'10", 171 pounds. I like that. I like it if he could add a few pounds of muscle on there. You're right, stats don't really scream out to you, but sometimes being quiet and just locking down is better than having stats galore. But no, I think it's awesome that he's coming here. I'm glad that he was able to announce on the podcast. Um, really looking forward to what his future here holds at WKU. Moving on, Jonathan Stafford Jr. He's a freshman, wide receiver, 5'9", 175 pounds from Grayson High School out of Auburn, Georgia. Stafford is considered a three-star prospect wide receiver at 24/7 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. Stafford caught 44 passes for 818 yards and 6 touchdowns in 13 games as a senior in 25 to help his team to a state championship, according to his team's Max Prep account. He also recorded 3 rushing attempts for 67 yards and a score. As a junior, he had 236 yards and a touchdown on 21 receptions. So, another guy that's in the 5'9" range, um, could definitely be a slot receiver. Moving forward, I feel like we have a crap ton of slot receivers coming in or guys that size. So, and it never hurts to have more. The more the merrier. I'm just looking forward to what he's doing. He caught 44 passes for 818 yards his senior year, and tack on 6 touchdowns. Guy seems like a reliable receiver. Moff, what do you think?
Georgia boy averaging nearly 20 yards per catch as a senior. That jumps off the page to me. 44 catches for 818 yards. That's in my head 18 and some change yards per catch. And helped lead his team to a state title. Don't let's not gloss over that. So he comes from a winning program and is one of the leaders of his team. So whether he's a slot receiver, whether he's a kick returner, whatever he does, he's going to be a contributor here at Western. So I'm excited to see again another one coming here that's a 3-star prospect that is very, very, very talented. So I'm excited for him to get here. The next prospect we're going to talk about is Isaac Tanis. He's an outside linebacker, 6'1", 235 pounds. He comes to us from American Heritage High School in Hollywood, Florida, where he was rated a 3-star prospect by 247 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. He recorded 41 total tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and a forced fumble over 11 games his senior season. And as a junior, he totaled 77 tackles with 15 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, a forced fumble, and a blocked punt over 12 games. So, Florida boy, gotta like that. A lot of stats, just very impactful. Really liking what I see on paper for this kid. I think he's going to be impactful as soon as he gets a chance to be on the field. Tyler, what do you think about Mr. Tanis and what he brings to this defense?
Well, I really like his size for a linebacker, 6'1", 235. Good size. He come through and be a wrecking ball there. If a running back gets into a gap or tries to get the edge, I feel like he could definitely cause some damage. Um, his senior year, 41 total tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 4 fumble. Um, the dude seems to be like he likes to hit, and he likes to hit hard, forcing the fumble and getting 5 sacks. So he obviously likes to get back there and take his frustrations out on the quarterback and the running back. So really looking forward to him coming here. He may set a year and learn and put on some weight, get in D1 shape, but feel like in the future he could definitely be a dangerous weapon for the Hilltoppers. Moving on, we got another early enrollee, Zayden Walters. He's a freshman, defensive tackle, 6'3", 311 pounds, from Brookwood High School out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Another Georgia boy. He came from Brookwood High School in Georgia, where he was ranked as a 3-star recruit by 24/7 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. Walter played along the offensive and defensive line during his high school career. As a senior in 2025, he posted 54 tackles, 14 and a half tackles for loss, 11 and a half sacks, and 14 quarterback hurries in 12 games, according to his team's Max Prep account. Defensive tackle, 6'3", 311 pounds. Gotta like the size. And another Georgia boy, another 3-star prospect. Them tackles. You got 54 total tackles, 14 and a half tackles for loss. And then you add in the 11 and a half sacks, 14 hurries. Another guy seems like he makes his living back there in the backfield. Excited for him to be here, Monfoy. What's your thoughts on Mr. Zayden Walters?
We talk about ball hawks with the secondary quite a bit, but sometimes you get a defensive tackle of that size, 6'3", 311. I mean that's a kid that can come in day one and be a run stopper or be somebody that's getting pressure in the backfield. And his numbers speak for themselves. Defensive tackles don't have 54 tackles, 14 and a half for loss, 11 and a half sacks, 14 hurries in 12 games. That is insane. That is a motor and a kid that is disruptive. He's a ball hawk along the defensive line as a defensive tackle. And that's almost a cheat code. And you start pairing him up with a couple of defensive end guys that we've already talked about. And I really like where the defensive side of the ball is going. Once you start to put this full puzzle of all these recruits and commitments and signees together of where this team could look like within a couple seasons. And I don't want to call it a pivot, but a renewed focus on high school talent, because there's a lot of it out there that's getting missed. And this is a perfect example. 6'3", 311 should be playing at, at Georgia, at Georgia Tech, at a big Power Four school, quite frankly. But he fell through the cracks. He's coming to Western Kentucky, and oh my goodness, I'm excited for him. He's going to be a good one. Sorry, I'm excited. I know. The next prospect and the last one on the list alphabetically, we are to the W's, is Eli Wilt. He is a tight end, 6'5", 241 pounds. Comes to us from Ensworth High School in Nashville, Tennessee. He was a 3-star prospect as a tight end, according to 247 Sports Rivals and ESPN. He ranks as the number 29 player in the country at his position in the class of 2026 and the number 40 player in the state of Tennessee in his class. So, one, size jumps off the page at you, 6'5", 241. That is an unfair mismatch. Sorry, defenses and linebackers that have tried to guard him. Two, a top 30 tight end in the country. A top 30 tight end just signed with Western Kentucky and is coming and is going to be on our roster. Um, again, maybe tight end used back. I don't know. We had good runs several years ago. Then we had River Helms a couple years ago. Now Noah Myers. And now we got Eli Wilt coming to the hill, a guy that could quite frankly be a day one contributor. Really excited about him. Tyler, what do you think about Eli?
You stole what I was thinking. I was actually going to say, is this the return of tight end you? I believe it is. Um, this this is a huge get. And he's from Nashville, Tennessee, so pretty much he's local. Not too far down the road. 6'5", 241 pounds. Dude is going to be hard to bring down. I feel sorry, like you said, I feel sorry for the linebackers. Is going to have to try to tackle him because I feel like if he wants to, he's going to run through you. And to be the 29th player in his position, just really speaks volumes to the staff that are able to get him here. You know, uh, we've had a lot of players in this list that 60s, 40, player overall. I'm ecstatic to get them here. That's great that they're considering coming to Western. Whenever they have, you probably would see them at other P4 schools. But that's awesome that we're able to get them here to Western. Um, dude, this kid, I'm looking forward to him. Tight ends are always um, a great weapon to have, either blocking or receiving. And I feel like if we have a couple good wide receiving tight ends, that's just going to make our offense even more potent and cause defenses fit. So, really glad that we was able to get him here.
Yeah, so that does conclude our National Signing Day recap. 24 players officially signed to the WKU football roster. 22 of those 24 players were 3-star prospects. If you were keeping count at home of how many of those we read off as 3-star prospects, a lot of talent coming to the hill. I don't think we can understate that enough, that the job that this staff has done to put together the number one signing class in Conference USA and a top 70, so in the upper half of basically of the country. And there's always P4 bias. I don't want to talk about some of these kids probably being underrated and undervalued for what they truly should be. But man, I think the future is really bright. Obviously, this is a first update for kind of the movement of the roster. National Signing Day just passing. Obviously, the transfer portal opens in about 3 weeks on January 2nd. That'll be open between now and then. We've got 8 guys in the portal right now. That's probably going to double or triple by the time we get to that portal being officially open. So we'll make sure that we circle back. By the time we have portal movement, both ways, we're going to lose guys, we're going to sign guys, and then we'll have another National Signing Day in February. So there's going to be a lot of roster movement. Hopefully there's guys on the roster that we're going to hold on to, You can go down the list: Marvis Parrish and Rodney Tisdale and Katie Hutchinson and Noah Meyer. You can make your wish list of guys that, man, I hope we hold on to those guys. But one thing I've always said, going back years and years, and a couple podcasts now, is that the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. So for every player that we lose, that's just going to be an opportunity for Helton and staff to go out and identify someone to help make this team better. And you hate losing good talent, but every time you lose somebody, it opens up a roster spot for somebody else that's looking for a home, looking to better themselves as a person and as a player. And I have a lot of faith in Coach Helton and Jeray Thurman and just his entire offensive and defensive staff that goes out and does all this recruiting and puts together a good competitive roster year in and year out. I think we've got a lot of talent coming to Western Kentucky just on this early signing day. We've still got another batch. Um, be more JUCO players, more portal players, more high school kids coming up in February that we'll update as it happens and do another recap. When we're getting to the back end of February, and have an idea of what the roster is going to look like going into spring ball. But right now, I'm really excited. But we haven't lost anyone technically to the portal yet. They're just in the portal. So, I try not to take that personal, guys jumping in and exploring their options. But man, just running down this list of guys, and there's more. There's at least one that we couldn't announce because he wants to do that in February. But he is signed on the dotted line and will be here. So it's official. It's just not announced. And then there's going to be plenty more players that make that decision between now and then to come to Western Kentucky. And I'm excited for every one of them. I'm excited to see him at spring ball, excited to see him on the field. And I'm just ready to see the Hilltoppers in 2026. I know the season just ended 2 weeks ago, but is it August yet? Not quite. That's all right. We'll focus on basketball then. It is basketball season, and we've got a bowl game in a couple weeks, so we'll obviously talk about that as it gets closer and recap it when the game's over and we spank Southern Miss and send them back to Hattiesburg with a big fat L. Tyler, man, hit us with your final words, final thoughts, and take us on out of here.
Just an amazing list of defensive linemen, offensive linemen, tight ends, wide receivers, D backs. And there's one position that we did not talk about, and that is running back. So, George Hart and Lavelle Wright. Thank you. I kind of.
But hey, breaking news before you talk about Lavelle, he got an extra year of eligibility. He can come back.
Hey, so that means we got Parrish and Lavelle Wright.
If they come back.
If they come back, good Lord willing, let's speak it into existence if you want to. That's, could we have another 3-headed monster in the running back room or more? I feel like that's something that Western has been trying to get more talent at here these last really this season and last season was running back. We're trying to get them more involved in the offense. I'm here for it because it's just going to balance out everything. But I can't wait till what we talk about in February with the new batch, because this batch right here, awesome. Should make everyone excited for the future of Hilltopper football. Now, since we are talking about basketball, we playing Marshall 12-10. Hey, is there going to be a poster of a Western player dunking on a Marshall player like Josh Anderson did to John Elmore back in the day? You've seen him running away for his life. He's a coward. Hopefully, Armello Boone was able to get free and yams it on somebody. Marshall does have a 7'4" center though, but I don't feel like he's as offensive capable as he should be. It should be a good game. I'm looking for someone, a Western player, maybe Ryan Myers, maybe LJ Hackman, to have a triple double. Kind of repeat history here. But I will be watching. I hope everybody's able to tune in if you're able to. If you live close to West Virginia, drive on across there. Be careful though. It is kind of ratchet over there. So try not to get tetanus. Seems like a lot of rust over there. Or black lung. Be careful with those two things. Look out for Mothman. But I hope the basketball team walks out there with the dub, because it'd be nice to kind of sweep them the last 2 years, Marshall this year and last year. So with that, Moth, who has better than us? Definitely not Marshall.
Nobody, buddy. You know it.
Y'all go Tops.
Go Tops. Later, guys.
See y'all.